just waiting for everything to come online. So it looks like YouTube is up, Twitch is up, and it looks like Rumble is up too. Hi, my name is Ray, and I am the owner and instructor here at Tipsy Brush in Kyla, Montana. And I've been teaching painting classes since 2014, and I've had a lot of customers that have moved out of the area and really liked my classes, and I thought I would make them available here on these 3 platforms. So again, it's Tipsy Brush MT, and that's on YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. So today is my first stream, so bear with me. There's probably going to be a lot of kinks that I need to work out, but painting I can do, so I'm going to paint with you today, obviously. Okay, so you can kind of see up in the, right there, that's what I'm painting today in honor of Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day, and thank you to everybody who has served or is currently serving. Thank you for your service for our freedom. So anyways, in honor of you, we are going to be painting Grand Old Flag today. And so the first thing I'd like to do, besides saying thank you for being here, please, if you like this channel, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps a lot. Again, I'm just getting started. I think I am currently my only follower right now, and that's okay because, you know, I've got a lot to learn. Anyways, so back to painting. So we are using acrylic paints today. And it's a pretty simple palette, obviously. Red, white, blue, and black is what we're going to be using for this one. Usually when I teach this class, I have stencils for the stars, but I'm going to kind of paint my own stars because I don't want to use a stencil. So first of all, I'm using just a regular little plate here. This is where you can see me mix my colors. I've got a little cup of water. I've got 3 different brushes. I've got my big brush. Let's see if I can do this. My big brush, or maybe I can just hold it here. Big brush. And then I have a medium brush right here and a detail brush, which we will be using for the stars. So I've got paper towels right here. I've got my eyeballs in case I need to see better for close-up stuff. And that's all we need. Right here I've got my canvas, and it looks like it might be a little bit glitchy, and I'm sorry about that, but okay, we'll do what we can with what we got. So first thing I want to do is get my brush wet. Obviously you want to wipe it off on your paper towel like that, just to get some of the excess water off. And I'm going to start by, I'm just going to take a really light blue. So I'm going to take some white and mix it with a little bit of blue on my plate. I'm going to really flatten out my brush like this so that I have a nice skinny edge to work with. And I want my diagonal to start here, and I'm going to let it exit the canvas here. So I'll just hold my brush straight onto the canvas and draw a line. That's going to be my first diagonal line for the star. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to go over this thing like 3 times. So if you get a little weird like I did, it's totally, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, and I'm going to have a second fold right here. So it should be parallel. All right, and then the first thing I want to do, like normally when I paint this for my, when I teach this in my class, I'll have some lines that are kind of pre-drawn, but for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to kind of show you what it looks like when everyone gets here. So hold, again, to get a thin line with this brush, you want to just use the edge of the brush. You want to hold straight onto the canvas. Let me see if I can position this in a way that is a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing. So if you hold your brush straight onto the canvas like this, then you can get some thin lines like that. So there's one, and then your next line will just kind of follow that same curve. Is that in a good position on the screen? Okay. And I'm just painting them so that they're about the same width. We can adjust these as we go. And also, I suppose it would be helpful to know exactly how many stripes are on the lower section of the flag under the stars, but I'm not going to be that particular with this. No disrespect. Can you see that okay? All right, it's fairly light, and that's good. I like it to be kind of light. I'm going to slide this guy back in here. Well, theoretically. This is a brand new easel. This is the first time I've ever had a really nice easel. My other easel was just this little aluminum thing. I'll show it to you. Maybe when we're between steps and waiting for this to dry. Okay, so the same curve. It's a visual thing. I'm hearing all kinds of bling blings. What is that? So again, did we just get disconnected? I don't even know. Like, what is happening? I have two monitors. One is way up here. And let's see. Huh. Okay, I don't know. Maybe we went offline or something. I hope we didn't lose our signal. But I guess we'll find out. Anyways, I guess I'm just going to keep painting and I guess see what happened later. Okay, so looks like it's trying to resend it. So bear with me, everybody. Okay, looks like we might be back online. I hope this is working. I don't even know. I'm just going to keep painting, I guess. So I've got all of the lines painted in. That's for the contour of the flag. And now I'm going to paint in the base layer for the whole canvas. So again, this is going to get like 3 layers of paint. So the first layer never looks great. So don't be surprised about that. It also could just be the paint that I use, because the paint that I use is super see-through, and so it requires more than 1 layer. So the first layer is really just about blocking in the shapes. So we're not too concerned. We don't want to be all perfect and stuff. I hear that perfection is boring anyways. I don't know. I never achieved it. So all right, so I'm going to use some light blue. So I've got blue and white, and I just kind of like, when I mix my colors, I like to flatten my brush in the paint like this. That way it doesn't get built up too thick inside the brush in bristles. So okay, well, we're reconnected. Maybe it's just my internet connection. I don't know. Oh, what is happening? Okay, I'm going to turn off Rumble, and I'm going to turn off Twitch and see if it works better with just one. Okay, so now I'm just on YouTube. That might just have to be the only one I can do. Let's see if it does that again. I don't even know. So, okay, so again, I am painting in the base layer for the blue. I've got really good internet here too, so I do not understand why that would be giving me a hard time. I don't know. But it's fine. So I got blue and white, and I'm putting in my base layer. Looks like it's still streaming. That's good. It could be this conflicting platforms are being weird. So I guess YouTube is going to be the way to go. Anyways, thank you again for joining me. If you missed when I first logged in, my name is Ray, and I am the owner and instructor of Tipsy Brush here in Kyla, Montana. And I'm showing you how to paint Grand Ole Flag today. So, yep. All right, so we're just on our base layer. We mixed blue and white to fill in the front. Okay, so that's the base layer for blue. Now it starts off really, really light blue, but that's because dark blue is so see-through that if you try to put that on the first layer, it's so see-through, and it would probably take like 6 layers to build up the color. So if we start with a light blue and gradually work our way to the darker blue, it works better. So, okay, now I'm going to fill in all the white stripes now, and that is also going to be light blue, mostly so that we can see it. So I'm going to take a little bit of that blue that I was just using and mix it with my white, and we're just going to fill in all of the white stripes. With light blue. And again, even though we're using pretty much just white on white, you still want to follow the contour of the lines that we already have there on the canvas. And no, I know you can't see this, and that's fine. I wonder if my dog will come out and say hi to everybody. He might. He's hiding in his little den right now. He's a Shih Tzu Yorkie mix, a Shorkie, and he is heavy on the Shih Tzu. Sounds like he's eating his chewy toy right now. It's fine. So the good thing about this is working on some different colors and filling in the base layer of some of the different shapes gives the blue a little bit more time to dry. So by the time that we're done filling in the base layer for everything, this will be ready for us to do our second layer. So that's pretty cool. So again, I'm just doing a very, very light blue for the stripes, for the white stripes, that is. And perfection is boring. So we're not going for perfection. In fact, right at the end, I'm gonna mess it all up because it looks good that way. And it's fun. And it also takes some of the pressure off of, you know, trying to make things perfect. Makes it more painterly. It's kind of a fun way to think of it. Okay. So now this is the stripe here that would be white if you imagine it kind of flowing down. So I'm going to do this one first. That way I don't accidentally paint it the red, because that wouldn't make sense. You know, typically I like to have music playing while I'm painting because it's good for the brain and soul. However, because of copyright things and all of that, I can't play music for you, and I'm no musician, so. Okay. It's good to know where your skills lie. White, 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 white. So hopefully everybody's having a nice Memorial Day weekend. I've seen a lot of campers driving around, so this is the kickoff for camping season. Yay! So it looks like I'm, you know, it's still working on YouTube, so yay, that's cool. See if I'm pretty sure I don't have anybody watching yet, and that's okay. I'm hoping to stream once a week, Monday or Tuesday, and if it goes well, I might do more than that. Yeah, it looks like I'm the only one here, and that's okay, because this will be available for you guys to watch later if you want to do this painting at home. Awesome. Simple materials, you just got to pick up some canvases. And now for this channel, of course, I'll probably go a lot quicker than I do in like a normal class. Normally this painting, if I were teaching it in a group setting, it would probably take about 3 hours, but it just kind of depends on the group. Every group is a little bit different. Some people have more experience than others. Some people just want to socialize more than others, so that all affects how long this painting takes. But when it's just me painting, it goes pretty quick. We'll see. I don't know how long this will take. Maybe an hour, hour and a half. Who knows? We'll see. Again, I'm just using light blue and filling in what will be the white stripes. You know, and again, if you're doing this at home and you aren't happy with your initial lines, doesn't matter, because you can kind of fix them as you go. So, but here in Montana, it is a beautiful day, nice and sunny outside, and thinking I'm gonna go for a walk after this. So, okay, so now we're gonna start on the red stripes. So I'm gonna take my first layer, believe it or not, is gonna be dark pink. So I'm gonna take some white and mix it with some red, and that'll be my base layer. Also, for the same reason, because this red is a very transparent color and you want to build up to the darker red. So the first layer is going to be a dark pink. So hopefully you guys like my channel and subscribe, because I'd like to do more of these. And having more subscribers makes it easier to make a living at it. So anyways, please like and subscribe. I'm going to set this up here so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Yep, and I'm just using the width of the brush. I use the edge of the brush to kind of clean up the lines a little bit. And again, if you paint outside the lines, it's not a big deal. We've got plenty more to do where we can clean up those lines later. Like, I kind of over painted the white a little bit. Totally doesn't matter, not a bit. Does not matter, because again, this first layer is just about blocking in the shapes and putting in, you know, and getting your canvas wet, getting rid of all the dry canvas. Some people like to wet their canvas before they paint. I've never done it that way. That might be really helpful, like if you're using the more concentrated tubes of paint, but my paint comes in really big jugs and it's already really kind of watered down, so that's why I don't wet my canvas first. But a lot of people like to, and that's just fine. There's more than one way to do this. I really don't feel like there's a wrong way. You just got to find what's right for you, what works for you. So kind of a fun thing that I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be doing a fundraiser for a friend of mine. His name is Jeremy, and he is battling kidney failure. He's only 38 years old, and he has a 17-year-old daughter. He's got a really good job, but no insurance. So I'm going to be doing a fundraiser, kicking off next week here, and I'll have links in the description and all of that where you can donate directly to my friend who is raising money for her son. So she said it's going to cost like $500,000 for a kidney transplant, and he already has a donor. Anyways, he just doesn't have the money to do it, and he's so young, you know? I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, so yep, that's going to kick off next weekend, and it's going to run until August 22nd. And August 22nd, we're going to have a fundraiser here at the studio where people can buy paintings, and the majority of the proceeds are going to go toward helping Jeremy raise money. So our goal, or my personal goal, is to raise $20,000 because I know that that would help them a lot. I mean, it's obviously not what they need, but I think it's something that we could probably do here. So if you like that idea, like and subscribe and share with your friends who have a heart for someone who needs something like that. You know, I know what it's like to not have insurance. I haven't had insurance for years. Can't afford it. I'm self-employed. It's so expensive. And thankfully, I haven't really had to go to the doctor. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who are in that same boat. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's the way it is for a lot of Americans, you know. Healthcare is too expensive. So anyways, like, it's not perfect what I'm doing right now, but it's okay, because there's plenty of time to work on that. So alright, and I'll start here. It'd be really nice if my dog came out to say hi. But he's hiding. He's probably wondering who I'm talking to. This is such a fun chair. I can spin, spin, spin. So a lot of people that come to my classes for the first time are like, I can't draw a stick figure. I'm not artistic. I'm not creative. Well, as far as I'm concerned, everybody's creative. Some of us have exercised that part of our brain more than others, maybe because of how you're raised. I grew up in a very creative family, so we were always using that part of our brain. But I mean, we're all made in the image of our creator, and he's the divine creator, so wouldn't that mean that we all are a little bit creative? That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to be a painter, but you can be creative with the way you approach situations or whatever. So painting's a skill, just like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And I think it just comes down to how bad do you want it, you know? Although I can say that sometimes it comes easier for some people, you know. Painting's like breathing for me, but, you know, I bought myself a ukulele to try to teach myself how to play the ukulele. That does not come naturally. That is very, very difficult. I am not musical at all. I can feel music, but I can't play it, and I can't remember it or anything like that. So, you know, for some people, music is like breathing. You know, I suppose if I wanted to bad enough, and if I wanted to practice, I could get really good at it. But it's just not really, it's not my calling, I suppose. But I think you can do anything you want if you set your mind to it and practice. That's the way it is with painting. Okay, so that is my base layer. I've got my red, white, and blue stripes. I've got my blue filled in. I mean, I don't have blue stripes. I have my red, white, and blue. Okay, so now I'm going to clean off my brush, and the way I do that is I just keep bouncing it at the bottom of the cup to clean out the bristles. Now, my blue section is completely dry. So normally in a class setting, what we'll do is we'll take a minute and just blow dry the canvases with a hair dryer, but it's already dry, so I'm just going to dive right in. So this time I'm going with blue and white again for the blue section, but I'm going to use more blue. So it's a little bit darker blue. There. So that's quite a bit darker than the first layer. And you could kind of redraw this line using the edge of your brush. And then we'll just okay, we're reconnected, yay! I do not know why it keeps doing that. I'll have to, I don't really have any background apps going. Maybe I do. Okay. Alright, I'll turn everything else off, I suppose. Anyways, alright, so still painting. It might have to do with the bit rate or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. I don't understand completely what I'm doing. Just kind of figuring it out as I go. So maybe after I paint this, I can kind of dig in it a little bit and figure out exactly why it keeps dropping off. But we'll figure it out later. Right now I just want to paint. Just want to paint. Blue section's done. Now I'm gonna go over all the white again. And this time I think I'm just gonna use straight I'm going to use straight white this time. So cleaned off the brush, wiped it off on my paper towel. Now I'm getting some white. And I'm just going to repaint all the white. Oh, it just dripped on the floor. I don't think there's anything I have that does not have paint on it. Nothing I own does not have paint on it. 'Tis my life. That is how it goes. Is that in the frame? I guess. Sometimes it's easier just to hold the painting. Yeah, that red is still pretty wet, so I'm kind of dragging a little bit of pink here. A lot of pink, I guess. Better clean off my brush. Get all the red out. And go back to white. Oh, got some blue in there. That's okay. Because we're actually going to put some blue in the stripes later. Everything's fine. So second layer looks a little bit more solid than the first layer. Again, that's just because the paint is so transparent, which means see-through. I tell you, it feels really weird to not have music going right now. It's very unusual for me. I might have to put some earbuds in or something, you know, because I feel like I need music. It's fine. There's something a little bit therapeutic about just hearing the brush glide along the canvas too. There's something to that. It's like listening to a breeze in a way. It's one thing I love about painting is it's just, you're able to just kind of tune everything else out. We live in a very noisy world. Between the cell phones and the watches and all that, sometimes it gets a little bit to be a little bit too much, and we just need a little bit of quiet, but it's almost scary. You know that who's that band that sings Car Radio? 21 Pilots. Love them. They're so good. Anyways, a car radio, now I just sit in silence. Yeah, I can kind of relate to that. Somebody stole my car radio and now I just sit in silence. I should listen to that. It's been a minute. All right, so my second layer of white is done. So I'm going to clean off my brush, and now I'm going to go over all the reds again. Yeah. I feel like I need some music in the background of my brain. I don't really know what I did with my earbuds. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need music. Okay, so now I'm going to use straight red to go over all the reds again. So I cleaned off my brush, and you're going to notice how totally see-through this color is. It's wild. And this will get a third layer. The third layer is going to be a little bit different than the first two. Oh, look at how pretty that red is. It's such a pretty color. So pretty. Go nice and slow. Take my time. paint it over. Ah, that's okay. Well, that might just have to be a thick stripe. And if anybody complains that my stripes are not totally the same width, I don't care. I don't care. Or that Judy Garland, I don't care. I don't care. What's going on in my head right now? This is why I need music, so that I can spare you all from listening to me sing. It's a good thing I am the only one in this channel right now. I believe that's going to change. I don't care. I don't care. I never said I was a singer. My mom was a singer. She had a beautiful voice. Sounded like angels singing. She did not pass that gift on to me, and that's fine. It's fine. So I guess we could call this kind of a test run, huh? First stream ever, Memorial Day 2026. First stream ever. Again, if you like this, if you like watching me paint, please subscribe. Right now I'm aiming to have at least one stream a week. And if you can't make it, that's fine. You can always watch it later. That stripe looks a little funny. I think I might want to fix that. Ooh, like that. Ooh, like that. Disconnected, reconnection, successful. I really don't know why it does that. I don't. And I wonder what the playback's going to be like, you know, if it keeps disconnecting. I mean, it's still streaming on YouTube, so I'll have to find out what that's about. It's probably just a setting that I'm unaware of. I mean, it's a brand new computer. I shouldn't be having any problems with streaming. And it's a gaming computer, so I don't know. I wonder if it's my internet. But I have Starlink, so if it's my internet. But I have Starlink, so I don't know. I don't know. It's confusing to me. Almost done with the second layer of red. Yay. Just a couple more spots. Okay, so now I just gotta wait for that to dry for a little bit longer. You can still see it's like super shiny. So we're just gonna wait for that to dry. Gizmo, you wanna meet my dog? Gizmo, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. This is Gizmo. 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 Yay. Oh, he does not look very happy. Don't be camera shy. I don't care. I don't care. Oh, so scared. You're a good boy. He's my buddy. He's such a good boy. He does not look happy about this at all. Sorry, bud. Sorry. So, well, I do have a fan that I can use to dry this. This was a friend of mine. Always brought a fan with her to class, and she liked to fan her paintings dry. I typically just like to use a hair dryer, but I don't have one in here, and it's really noisy and annoying, so I wonder. In some of the channels it says that you can like take a break, which would be really good for blow drying canvases, but I don't really think I have a placeholder set up, so it's fine. We're just waiting for it to dry. I guess I could keep using the fan. It feels really good anyways. So. Yay. Do you guys have any interesting Memorial Day things happen today? I'm talking to an empty room. We didn't really have anything going on in town here. I think there was a couple of things at the graveyards or something, but I didn't get out at all for that. Well, I do believe that I can work on the blue section because I think that's dry enough. So again, we got a clean brush. Anytime we're between steps, you want to just clean off your brush. Scatter clean. So on this third layer, we're going to start adding some highlights and shadows as we paint these. So I'll show you what that means. So the highlight is going to be kind of near the top of the curve here, and then the shadows are going to be in the lower section, and then we'll blend them together. And it's going to be kind of the same for the white sections and the red sections, just with different colors. So, all right, so the first thing I want is the highlight. So I'll take some blue and some white on my brush, and I'm just going to let it be kind of like marbly, like, oh, where am I? There I am. See, the colors aren't completely mixed together. So the light blue is going to be my highlight color. So I'm just going to kind of brush in a curved manner, like so. Still want to kind of follow the same direction that you originally put your colors on with. And you just kind of let it kind of feather off down below, like this. Flick it. Okay, that's my highlight shadow. Can you guys see that okay? The contrast on the screen is a little weird. See, like that? Okay, that might be something I need to work on as well. Contrast. All right. So, and the darker color is going to be kind of in this lower section here, and then we'll want to transition into the lighter color. So I'm going to take a little tiny bit of black. Black is a very bossy color, so anytime you mix with it, you want to add it gradually to the other color. Otherwise, it just takes over, and it'll take a ton of the other color to counteract it. So little bit at a time anytime you're using black. So a little bit of black with blue, so it gives you kind of this midnight blue color, and I'm going to sweep it up from the bottom. And again, I did not completely mix my colors because I really like to have that kind of streaky look. And again, see, I'm following the same curves as when I originally painted the blue one. Okay, and now I want to connect those two, or to blend those two together. So again, I'm going to clean off my brush in the water. It's very important to hold your pinky out like this. It's like, it's time for high tea. Okay, so now I'm going to take some blue, straight blue, on a clean brush and brush those two sections together. Just kind of blend them together like that. And they should both still be wet. So they should blend together nicely. Okay, now my paint is kind of not really sticking all that well down at the bottom. I might have to go back over that again. And now I'm taking a little bit more blue and kind of going over this lighter section again, just because I really want my colors to just kind of flow together. And since this blue is so see-through, that actually works pretty well. There. That's actually a better angle, isn't it? Let me see if I can adjust that, because it's a little far that glare. It's making it really, really hard to see the colors. Is that a little bit better? Okay. All right, so that section's pretty well done, kinda. I mean, I'll probably go back and hit that with a little bit more blue because it's a little bit see-through down toward the bottom. But I'm gonna give it a minute to dry, because if I try to add the paint right now on top of the wet paint, it'll start coming off, and that's like, I don't want that to happen. So, okay, so I'm gonna do kind of the same thing. I'm gonna have the darker colors on, I'm gonna work on the white stripes now. So my shadow color is going to be light blue, and the highlight, of course, is going to be just white. So I'm going to take blue and white again, but this time a little bit more blue than our base layer. Our base layer was very, very light blue. This is not really that light. And what I want to do is I want to brush up. That. I'm kind of using the edge of my brush because these are narrow. This is a narrower area. Okay, so there's some shadow, and I'm going to clean off my brush again. I'm just letting the paint or the water kind of drain out of my brush, and then I'll take straight white. Blend that blue in with the white. Reconnection successful. Sending data. Wow, that's so weird. Okay, I don't know if this is working or not. I guess I'll find out when I'm done. Meanwhile, I'll have another paint in here. Yay. Okay, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why he does that. Okay. So, sorry about the whole disconnection thing. I do not know what is happening. I really don't. I truly do not know what's happening. But it looks like we're streaming now, so yay. Wonder if anybody's in the chat yet. No, it's fine. Okay, so I'm taking some more white. And reconnect it again. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Looks like it's streaming. Okay, so I gotta redo this little bit here, and then we can move on to the red stripes. Please be patient with me as I figure out this whole streaming thing. This is all new to me. And I'll tell you what, there is a lot to learn. There is a lot to learn. All right, so I'm gonna do the shadows on the red stripes next. And the shadow color is gonna be red with a tiny bit of black mixed in. And then I'm just going to go over it with red, and then I'll show you kind of a fun little highlight that we can do later. So I'm going to take red and mix in a little, I don't know what's happening. Keeps disconnecting. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Painting, and hopefully it'll keep up. Wow. I don't know. Maybe there's another setting I can do. Let me see something. I don't know. I'll just have to keep playing with it, I guess, at some point. All right, so right now it looks like it is streaming. I'm using the red and black in case you missed it for the shadow colors on the lower part of the stripes. So here's a little hack. If you mess up, or you know, let's see if I can get this in the frame. Right here, right there. Okay, see how I overpainted that line? You can just take a clean brush and kind of wipe that off. Like that, cleans it right up. All right, so I've got my red on, my red and black, my shadow color is done. So now I'm gonna clean off my brush and take some straight red. Overlap the darker red. Great, now that Judy Garland song is going to be stuck in my head. I don't even know what movie that's from. Somebody probably does, but I do not. And that's fine. There's a podcaster that I follow. He's really good. And he uses that Judy Garland clip a lot. Do you guys listen to podcasts? I end up listening to a lot of podcasts because I'm alone a lot. And I need to keep my brain going. So... doing it again. I can't help myself from singing, even though it is painful. I know. I am so sorry. You just turn the volume down if you don't like it. It's fine. It won't hurt my feelings, really. I know where my talents lie. Sometimes it's nice to just be quiet. So there's this little spot right here. I don't know if you can see that. Right here, can you see that? Like the paint kind of rubbed off a little bit. It's because my paint was too wet when I painted over it again with the red. But that is something that I can touch up later. I'm not going to try to fix it now because that spot will get bigger. I really like to dry my canvas between steps. I I should say between layers. You don't have to dry your canvas every step. Just depends on where you're going to be working on it next. Alright, that spot I definitely want to play with in a little bit once it's had a chance to dry. While I am waiting for it to dry, I'm going to hit that one spot of the blue that was a little bit see-through. I'm just going to take a little bit more of my blue mixed with a little bit of black color. Hi Gizmo. And just kind of go over that part again. Just kind of fill it in a little bit more. All right. It's pretty. I don't know why it does that. It's weird. It does not understand who I'm talking to. You know what I'm really looking forward to doing is going for a walk with my dog. Just doing a little cleanup work on my white. All right. So it's time to paint some stars. Let's see. I'm just looking at a couple of spots that are a little bit wonky. So I'm going to use my medium brush. And I'm going to take white, like right here. This spot's a little bit wonky. There's a gnat flying around my face, and I don't like it. So I'm just doing a little bit of touch-up work on these lines while I wait for it to dry with the white. And this medium brush is a little bit easier to control than the big brush. So again, I'm just cleaning up some lines. Okay, it's a little bit better. All right, so now it's time for the stars. So you can either get some star stencils, make some on your Cricut if you have some, or you could also print it out on your computer and use carbon paper to transfer the image. Or you can freehand it. There's really no wrong way to do these stars. So if you look at the original, you can see that there's 4 stars along this edge, right? And they have like little feet. Hang on, let me get something. I'll explain this in a sec. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so it's a little easier to describe with an actual stencil in my hand. So I want to make sure that when I draw my stars, I'm going to start with them right here. Let's see, on my stencils you can see I've got like a little happy face on there, like a little man. So that's his head, and these are his feet, and these are his arms. I want his feet to be about the same distance from the bottom. Whoops, sorry guys. From the bottom, like this, right? And then the next one, they'll all be kind of lined up like that. However, actually, I think I will go ahead and use this stencil. That is still a little bit wet, apparently. So I guess we just have to wait for a minute. I hate waiting. It's so hard to wait. I'm going to go ahead and dry that really quick. I'll be right back. That is so much faster. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trace these on. If I can find a pen or pencil, whatever. I think I'll use it. See if the pencil works. Okay. So my first little guy, you could probably pick up these little stencils anywhere, like Hobby Lobby or whatever. I made these on my Cricut. So I'm just going to trace the little stars on with my pencil. Can you see that? Can you see those lines? Yeah. Okay. And my next one, his little feet are going to be, well, he's going to be lined up with the one below. Feet and arms pointing in the same direction. Now obviously I'm not going to be able to fit 50 stars on here. I'm not even going to try. I'm not trying to be perfect, but you know, as long as you've got red, white, blue stars and stripes, you've got the American flag. You're good. So as I do these, I'm going to line their feet up, the star's feet, with the stripe below. So I'll start with this one here, and I'll just move my way to the left. Position them about the same distance apart from each other. A lot of stars. You know, sometimes it's just easier to do. That's a really awkward angle, so I'm gonna do it right here. It's like so much easier. Let's see. Line these guys up. That spot is still a little bit wet on my canvas. That stinking song is gonna be in my head all day long. And it's never a full song, you know? Of course not. It's always just this stupid little loop that runs through my brain. So annoying. All the stars and stripes. This little guy doesn't even fit on the canvas, and that's fine. close to the last one. All right, I've got all my stars on now. See them all on there. And so now I'm going to paint them in. And I find it to be much easier to do that like this with the canvas down. And it's also a lot easier to do this with when you have paint. So I'm going to use white. I'm going to start filling these guys in. Usually it takes about 3 layers. So I'm using my medium brush, but some people like to use the detail brush for this. I'm just going to leave that up to you because it just depends on what brush feels best in your hand. I like the medium brush because it gives you a smoother finish. It sounds really good right now. Hot dogs and watermelon. Although I don't eat hot dogs because they make my stomach upset. But they're tasty. But that sounds like a perfect Memorial Day thing to eat, don't you think? Is that a pretty good angle for you guys to see what I'm doing? I feel like this is the most tedious part of this whole painting. And of course my dog wants out right now. You're gonna have to wait, Gizmo. Gonna have to wait. So the first layer is super transparent. That is normal. What you don't want to do is keep adding more paint because then it just gets chunky and weird. So, or it starts coming off. So you want to just put down your first layer. Just a minute, Gizmo. Goofball. Stop. Stop it. He's out there just rah, 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 rah. Just a second. I guess I better let him out. I mean, after all, he is trying to communicate with me. And that's a good thing. Yes, Gizmo. Un momento, por favor. That's like the only Spanish I know. Okay, just a minute. Okay. I'm gonna let my dog out. I will be right back. The dog is happy. He is now outside. Yay. Looks like it's still streaming. It didn't blip out again. That's kind of cool. Yay. Yay, no blip out. I'm going to check and see if there's anybody in the chat. Is there anybody in the chat? So if you do chat with me, hopefully it will alert me. Oh my gosh, this computer system is, the way I have this set up is so funky. All right, so let me see the chat. By the way, I don't ever talk about inappropriate things here, so kids are allowed to watch. It's not made for kids necessarily. What is this? Embed chat. How do I do that? Oh, okay. Well, that is something I can do later. Say launch chat. What is that? What is happening? The chat is ready to display messages. Yay. Okay. So I don't know. Let me see. It's fine. Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep painting. So, and I can figure all that stuff out later. Oh no, what did I do? Remember the trick for fixing boo-boos? Take a clean brush and wipe it off. Now, I am going to do splatter paint on this later on, so that little dot will not matter. I'm just going to let it be. I'm just going to let it be. I mean, Memorial Day is not exactly like a fireworks kind of day, like 4th of July. But I really like the way this looks with splatter paint. So I'm going to do it. However, I will explain to you the process for the way I like to do splatter paint, because it's a good way to control the size of the splatter and all of that stuff. And it's kind of a neat way to do it because it won't get all over your fingers. Like I've seen some people just go like this. I do not like the feeling of wet paint on my fingers. So I'll show you the way I do it. Then I'll go do it outside, because if I do it in here, paint will get everywhere. So, and I don't want that. I don't want paint on my monitors and my keyboard and all that, my microphone. So I'll show you the method that I use, and then I will do it outside, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like when it's done. Now, I live in Montana, so the weather's only good for doing outside splatter like a few months out of the year. So I do have an area set up in my studio for doing messy stuff that is not next to my computer and stuff. So the way to get this really skinny line again is I'm just using the edge of my brush, not the corner. The corner, like if you use the corner of your brush, look how thick that is. That's like super thick. You want to use the edge of the brush like that, and you just, the whole edge, very, very light touch. Oh my gosh, I really need a new song in my head. I really, really do. Again, I feel like this is the most tedious part of the whole painting. Sometimes it's kind of therapeutic to do tedious things. Kind of makes you slow down, and it's a good thing. Slow down, you go too fast. Oh my gosh, like, please don't tell me how awful my voice is. I already know. I don't need you to tell me that. I am not trying to impress you with my voice. wonder if there's a way to get music in here without worrying about copyright stuff. All things I can figure out later. Right now, I'm just really happy to be here. Finally have the camera set up and the lighting and all that stuff. That was hard. There was a lot to it, and I don't know anybody personally who does live streaming who could guide me through it. So I really did rely on ChatGPT and Google to help me figure all this stuff out. There's a lot to it. Okay, so I've got my first layer of stars finished, as you can see. But you can also see how transparent they all are. So here we go. Second layer, same as the first. Of course, I feel like the second layer goes a lot quicker because we've already got all the shapes figured out. And then you don't have to be quite as careful. Just kind of nice. I have been wanting to do live streaming now for like 11 years. And at my first studio, I didn't really have a place where I could set it up consistently. So that meant that every time I wanted to go live or, you know, shoot a video, I'd have to set everything up again. But now I have it set up, so all I have to do is turn it on. So because I have a dedicated area for that here in my office, and I'm excited to be able to do this with you guys. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. And eventually, hopefully, I'll have lots of people to interact with while we're painting. But of course, right now I am alone in my live stream because I just got started. It's going to take time, I guess. Obviously, I've only mentioned that I'm doing this to a couple people. So, anyways. But this is a good test run, and see where it goes. I do love painting. So, again, if you're new here, or if you just checked in or fast forwarded it, whatever, my name is Ray, and I own a painting studio here in Kyla, Montana. It's called Tipsy Brush, and this is where I teach people to paint. It's a paint and sip environment. All of my paintings are my own. Nothing is scripted. I just paint and explain and help people learn how to paint. And the best part about this is how totally unique each person's paintings are. And I love it when people go rogue and kind of turn it into their own creation. It's really fun to see what people do because we are so different from each other, you know? It's fun to see it come out on the canvas. Yeah, this is going to need a third layer for sure. This is pretty transparent, even on the second layer. It's fine. I'll do 3 layers. So I'm on my second layer of my stars. And again, happy Memorial Day, everybody. I hope you're all spending time with family and friends, enjoying your day off. Grateful to everybody who has put their life on the line for our freedom. Thank you. My dad was in the Navy. He worked on a submarine during Vietnam era. His dad was a bomber pilot for World War II. My mom's dad was in the Navy. So, thank you. I think I had another grandpa who was in the Korean War too. Maybe that was Grandpa, my mom's dad. I don't know. I just remember being a kid and we would go to Grandma and Grandpa's house for barbecues and birthdays and all kinds of things. And I was probably 7. And I remember one of the grandpas talking about Korea. So I think that might have been my mom's dad. Don't know. Couple more and then we get to do the 3rd layer, and that'll be the last layer for the stars. And then I'll show you what I like to do to mess it all up. When you get a song stuck in your head, sing last one, just a little leg. Okay. 2nd layer is done. Yay! So now we can do our 3rd layer, and then we'll put in the finishing touches on this guy, and then I'll explain the splatter paint because that is really fun to do. So this 3rd layer is really just kind of fill in, touch up on the stars. If you would like to request a painting to be done, you can email me at info@tipsybrush.com and tell me which of my paintings that you saw on tipsybrush.com you would like for me to do during a live stream, and I will keep it in consideration when I plan my classes. So there are some classes that I teach that require a stencil. Those are for my painters who aren't comfortable with drawing, because I don't want there to be any I don't want you to have to worry about that when you're learning how to use the paint. You know, that's what my classes are for, to learn how to use the paint, to learn to mix colors, how to hold the brush, how to layer paint on a canvas, how to bring a painting together in a short period of time. If you want to learn how to draw, you know, of course you can, there's so many like YouTube people that can show you how to draw on their channels. I know that because both of my daughters spent a lot of time looking at that stuff when they were kids, and of course I taught them what I know. But I learned how to, well, I drew my whole life. I love to draw. So when I went to college, I decided, you know, at the time I wanted to work for Disney. I thought that would be fun. And so my main classes were drawing classes, you know, so you get the drawing 101 and then drawing 2 and then drawing in composition, and then figure drawing, lots of figure drawing, because I wanted to work in the quick sketch department of Disney. I don't even know if they still do that anymore. This was a long time ago when they drew everything out. They didn't use the computers or anything. So that's what I wanted to do, but then by the time it was, you know, time to take the more advanced classes down in North Hollywood, there was a school there. My life changed a lot, and I was in my late 20s, and I decided that I wanted to have a family and not work for the studios in Burbank, California. I wanted to leave Southern California and raise my family. So that's what we did. So all of my efforts went to, painting instead, and kind of just doing my own thing versus working for studios. So anyways, long story short, learning how to draw was foundational before ever picking up a paintbrush for me. So when I teach my classes, I use stencils that I make from my paintings. So I'll do the original painting, and then I will make stencils using tracing paper, and then photocopy the stencils so that my customers don't have to know how to draw. So that's how I do it. So when I do these demonstration paintings, I think I'm just gonna kind of start with the paintings that I've already got set up for Tipsy Brush classes, and there's a lot of them, so it'll take a while to get through all of those, but a lot of them are going to require stencils. And the reason I want to show you that way instead of just freehanding is because I want you to be able to paint these at home too. So I'm still trying to figure it out, like, if I get subscribers, there might be a tier system or something where you pay a certain fee, and then by paying that you'll get access to the stencils and supply lists. I don't know. I haven't got it all figured out yet. I'm just living on the fly. Okay, so that is done. I did my third layer. Technically, this is pretty much the same thing as the original, except it's, it's always a little bit different. But since I did the original, what I really like to do is loosen it up a bit. That's a lot of tight line work, and sometimes I gotta change the angle of this light. That's too bright, isn't it? There. Is that better? Oh, that's on me now. Ow. That is so bright. How's that? Still right on me though. Kind of. That is really, really bright. Is that better? I don't know. We will figure this out together, right? We will figure this out together. Okay. So, like I said, what I like to do at the end of this painting is I like to mess it up. And wow, it's really dark. It's really light on the camera, but it's really dark over here. Weird. All right. So to mess it up, I'm going to take white on my detail brush this time. You can get your detail brush wet and then wipe it off on your paper towel, but also wipe it because water likes to hang out on the metal and drip while you're painting, which is totally annoying. Anyways, for this part, I'm going to be using a lot of paint on my detail brush, and I'm just going to loosely kind of just brush in some streaks. Like that. So I'm just kind of starting with the white. This actually looks really good with blue. I'll show you too. And this is obviously just an optional step. I just like to do this, like, especially if you had a hard time like staying in the lines or whatever, then, with anything with painting, you want to make it look intentional. So with the stars, I like to just kind of brush them out a little bit so they look a little bit more sketchy. Like that. I like to kind of get the movement in first before I actually apply the paint. So I kind of like start hovering over the paint the painting first, and then I would like kind of move in and put the marks on there. So. And it does not have to be perfect. That's the whole point, right? Perfection is boring, from what I understand. Actually, no, it's very boring. I feel like if you get really too wrapped up in making the painting super tight and hyper realistic, that it takes a lot of the life out of the painting. Thus the term painterly. That means you can tell it's a painting and it's not like a photograph. I mean, why you paint realistic if you have a camera? I'm just kidding. No, I have some good friends that paint hyper realistic animals. Fantastic artists, absolutely beautiful. I do not have the patience to do that. I like loosey goosey paintings. Okay, so I'm almost done with the white. Again, you just want to make it look. Also, I feel like this like makes it look like it's moving, you know? It's not just static. Okay, so now I'm going to take some blue, cleaned off my brush, grabbing some blue, and I'm going to do kind of the same thing. I think my dog is still outside. Maybe get some of this on the stars. What do you think? Do you like it? I like it. I like it a lot. I really do. I like these marks. I think they're fun. This is obviously an optional step. Get them all? Just one more. Okay, now, of course, I gotta get the red in there too. It is really, really bright light. It's a very bright light. Oh my gosh. It's fine. We'll figure it out together, right? We'll figure it out together. Okay, so now I'm going to get a little bit of red in there. Usually when I paint this with groups of people, I have about like a third of the class wants to do this step. But it's just nice to know that you don't have to be, you know, perfect. And this is a great way to make it look intentional. I'm going to turn away from the microphone. Can you guys hear me okay? I don't even know. I guess we're going to figure it out. Like when I look at this stream later on, we'll figure it out. I can't believe how dark it is over here. But it's not on the screen. It's so weird. Ooh, maybe that's a setting on the camera. I guess I can figure that out. Okay. Well, okay, so now it's time for splatter paint. Super fun, but that means I have to get another cup of clean water. So I'll be right back. Just a minute, buddy. Okay, so I actually got 3 cups, and I have about a little bit of water. I don't know, just a little bit of like tablespoon of water in each one. And I have these kind of junk brushes. These are just kind of too old to use for teaching that I like to use for this. I'm gonna make red, blue, and white, but I'm gonna use a darker red. So I'm gonna take a chunk of red and black and mix that into my water. And actually, I'm going to use the rest of my red and mix it up. So basically, it's a watered down red. I think I'm going to need more. I'm going to need more paint. I used too much water. And you just want to mix it up really good so that there's no like chunks in it anymore. Yeah, I'm going to need more of that. And I'll do blue. Blue, blue, blue. I'm just basically cleaning off my palette. I hate wasting paint. But sometimes it's just inevitable. It happens. Okay, so mixing up some blue, water, blue paint, water. Gizmo. Hi, Gizmo. Hi, bud. You want to come up here? You want to say hi? Come here. No. No, sorry. There's my doggy. He's a good boy. What's going on? Are we painting? Okay. Love you. Okay. And now I'm going to mix up some white. Watered down white paint. Okay, so this is going to be the consistency of like whole milk. It's kind of what we're looking at. So if it's a little too watery, just add a little bit more paint. You really don't need a whole lot of this. I'm used to mixing up a lot because I'm usually teaching a class where we're all using the same paint water, but you want it to be, yeah, like whole milk. Right, so there's that one. See the blue. Blue is still a little bit watery, and so is the red. So I will mix in a little bit more paint. But you don't have to sit here and watch me do that. What I do want to do is just kind of explain how I like to do this. So basically, you want to have this on a surface. You put it outside, put it on a rock, whatever, outside, somewhere where you won't create a huge mess. Because this is kind of permanent paint. It's hard to get off stuff, so I like to do this outside. So you mix it up a little bit, mix, and then you want to wipe the brush, both sides of the brush. Now again, this is super transparent, which means I need more paint. So you wipe and wipe to get the bulk of the paint out, not all of it, and then you hold it, you lay your painting down, you hold your brush like here, let me get the right angle, like this. See how it kind of bounces in my hand, and then tap your other hand like that over your painting, and you'll get a nice spread on your painting. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to take the painting outside, and as soon as I'm done, I will bring it back so you can kind of see what it looks like when it's finished. I'll be right back. Okay, it's all done. Look at glitter. Well, glitter would be fun, although glitter is the herpes of the art world. So I don't typically use it in the studio, but that is definitely something you could do. Anyways, so after you do your splatter paint, you'll want to blow dry the canvas so that the splatter doesn't drip. And of course, the last thing that you do is you sign your name. A lot of people ask me, where do I sign my name? There is no rules. Typically, we'll sign it in a lower corner. Also, if you roll your brush in the paint like this, you'll twist the bristles together. This is the detail brush. So you'll get a finer point to work with. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, okay. So I chose the wrong color because this needs to go on the other side. I was looking at the camera and the camera is backwards. Okay, so I'm gonna sign it right here with red. All right, so that is that. Thank you so much for joining me here. Again, if you like the video, please please subscribe, because that helps me out a lot and encourages me, gives me enough fuel to keep going and come back and do another one. Again, if you would like, you can look at my tipsybrush.com website and click on paintings and choose a painting that you would like for me to do, and just email me, info@tipsybrush.com, and I will take that into consideration for when I go live again. So I'm thinking that for the next time I'm going to go live will very likely be next Monday evening, probably around the same time, maybe 5 o'clock. So I hope to see you there. Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there, and have a great night. Thanks. Bye.